Eala cherishes life lessons from Lolo Bob. There are countless ways to describe how special the bond is between grandparents and their grandchildren, as well as the many ways both sides reciprocate their love for one another. There are countless ways to describe how special the bond is between grandparents and their grandchildren, as well as the many ways both sides reciprocate their love for one another. For tennis sensation Eala, the life lessons from her late grandfather Roberto Bobby Maniego, who passed away in 2019, is part of her success story. The 20-year-old Eala, who is facing number 5 seed Colombian Camila Osorio as of posting, often thought of her Lolo Bobby, particularly during her winning moments. "Yeah, my grandpa was a very big part of my life and of my early career. He was my coach ever since I started up until I moved to Spain," said Eala. "And I think about him every once in a while when I have good results, and I guess that happened quite often last year, which is a good thing," she added. Maniego, the father of Southeast Asian Games bronze-winning swimmer Riza Maniego Eala, was once a coach to siblings Alex and Miko. He was also supported by longtime juniors mentor Carl Santamaria. The WTA number 49 Eala also thought of what would be her Lolo's reaction to her current success on the global stage. "And yeah, sometimes I think about what he would tell me or how he would feel or how he would look or how he would react if he saw all that I've achieved today," Eala continued. "But he's always been so supportive, and he's always sacrificed a lot for me, and even when I wasn't at this level or famous or anything like that, he was there, showed up every day," she concluded. "And I think that just reflects on how much love he has for me and the family." The Quiet Court, Eala and the Lessons of Lolo Bob. Long before the stadium lights learned her name, before the crowd held its breath at match point, Eala learned how to listen, to the sound of her own breathing, to the rhythm of effort, to the quiet wisdom of a man who preferred mornings to applause. She called him Lolo Bob. Lolo Bob did not teach tennis with a racket in his hand. He taught it with time, with patience, with stories that arrived slowly, like a sunrise that doesn't announce itself but still fills the room with light. When Alex was young, the court felt enormous. The net seemed taller than it was, the lines stricter than they needed to be. Lolo Bob would sit at the edge, hat tilted just enough to shade his eyes, and watch. He didn't interrupt. He didn't shout advice mid-swing. He believed that some lessons, if rushed, lose their meaning. "Play the point," he would say after a long rally, not whether she won or lost. Not the noise around it. That was the first lesson. Attention is a choice. In a world eager to crown champions early, Lolo Bob insisted on presence. He taught Alex that life, like tennis, is not won by thinking 3 points ahead. You win it by meeting the ball where it is. Feet grounded. Mind clear. Heart open. The discipline of ordinary days. Lolo Bob loved routines. Morning walks. Black coffee. Folded newspapers. He believed greatness was built on ordinary days done well. Alex learned that discipline wasn't punishment, it was devotion. On days when practice felt heavy, when her arm ached and her patience wore thin, Lolo Bob would tell her stories about work that went unseen. Farmers tending fields before dawn. Fishermen mending nets no one would ever admire. "They don't wake up inspired," he'd say. "They wake up responsible." From him, Alex learned that motivation is unreliable, but commitment is steady. Champions are not made in moments of fire but in seasons of consistency. The real training, Lolo Bob believed, happened when no one was watching. Losing with grace, winning with humility. Lolo Bob paid close attention to how Alex walked off the court. Wins were met with a nod. Losses with a hand on the shoulder. He reminded her that victory is a guest. It stays briefly and leaves quietly. Defeat, however, can become a teacher if invited improperly. "Don't argue with a loss," he once told her. "Ask it what it came to teach." So Alex learned to lose without bitterness and to win without arrogance. She learned that character is most visible when the score is uncomfortable. When frustration rose, Lolo Bob would wait until the storm passed. Then he'd ask a simple question: "Did you try your best today?" If the answer was yes, that was enough. If it was no, then tomorrow held its own work. No drama. No shame. Just clarity. Carrying home wherever you go. As Alex's world grew larger, new courts, new countries, new expectations, Lolo Bob reminded her that roots matter. Wherever you travel, he said, bring home with you. Home, to him, was not just a place. It was values, respect, gratitude, the habit of saying thank you, to coaches, to staff, to the game itself. He believed that talent opens doors, but how you treat people decides how long they stay open. When Alex stood on international courts, carrying a flag heavier than fabric, she carried Lolo Bob's quiet pride with her. Not the kind that boasts, but the kind that steadies your spine when pressure leans in. Strength without noise. Lolo Bob was not loud. He did not demand attention. His strength lived in consistency, in showing up, in believing without broadcasting it. From him, Alex learned that confidence doesn't need an audience. When doubt crept in, as it always does, she remembered his calm presence. His certainty that effort, applied honestly, would eventually find its reward. Not always immediately, not always visibly, but inevitably. He taught her to trust the long arc of work, to measure progress in depth, not speed. The lesson that outlasts the game. Time, like a long match, moves forward whether you're ready or not. One day, Lolo Bob's chair by the court was empty. But his lessons stayed. They lived in how Alex warmed up, in how she shook hands, in how she faced setbacks with resolve instead of panic. Most of all, they lived in her understanding that tennis was never the whole story. Lolo Bob taught her that life is bigger than rankings, richer than trophies. That success is sweetest when shared, and meaning is found in who you become while chasing what you love. He once told her, if the game ever ends, make sure the person remains. That may be the greatest lesson of all. Because long after the last ball is struck, long after applause fades into memory, what endures is the quiet inheritance of wisdom, passed from a grandfather to a granddaughter, steady as a heartbeat, strong as a promise. And every time Alex steps onto the court, she is never alone. Lolo Bob is there. Watching. Waiting. Still teaching.